Have you ever wondered what led to the infamous Pearl Harbor attack? It all started in the 1930s with Japan's aggressive expansionist policies. Japan, eager to become a world power, was steadily fortifying its presence in Asia and the Pacific. This strategic maneuvering brought friction with Western powers, especially the United States, who viewed Japan's expansion as a direct threat. To counter Japan's ambitions, the United States imposed economic sanctions and trade embargoes, hoping to curb the rising sun's military appetite. However, far from deterring Japan, these measures only served to fan the flames of resentment, further straining the already tenuous relations between these two nations. As the 1930s rolled into the 40s, the situation was becoming increasingly volatile. The friction between Japan and the United States was no longer just an uneasy cold stare. It was a glaring heated gaze filled with animosity. By 1941, the tensions were reaching a boiling point, setting the stage for a major conflict. In 1941, Japan's plans for war began to accelerate, culminating in Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto proposing a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. This proposition wasn't merely a fleeting thought, but a meticulously planned strategy aimed at crippling American naval power. In July, Japan extended its reach by occupying French Indochina, what we know today as Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. The United States responded swiftly, freezing Japanese assets and implementing an oil embargo. This action further strained relations, but Japan had its sights set on a more aggressive response. As November rolled around, Japan's war planning shifted into high gear. The idea of a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor had evolved from a proposal into a concrete plan. On November 26, the Japanese carrier fleet slipped away from the homeland, their destination, the Hawaiian Islands. They traveled under a veil of secrecy, their mission cloaked in darkness. While the Japanese fleet sailed towards Hawaii, back in the United States, intelligence officers intercepted Japanese diplomatic messages on December 5th. However, the significance and target of a potential strike remained unclear. The pieces of the puzzle were there, but the picture they painted was yet to be seen. Then, on the morning of December 7th, 1941, the unthinkable happened. At 7:55 a.m. Hawaiian time, the first wave of Japanese fighters and bombers swooped down on Pearl Harbor, catching the U.S. forces completely off guard. Less than 20 minutes later, the USS Arizona exploded after a bomb hit its ammunition stores, taking with it the lives of over 1,100 crew members. A second wave of the Japanese attack began at 8:50 a.m., and by 9:55 a.m., the attack was over. The Japanese withdrew, leaving behind a trail of destruction. On December 7th, 1941, the unthinkable happened. Pearl Harbor was attacked, leaving behind a trail of destruction. The date that would live in infamy had begun as an ordinary Sunday morning. But by its end, it had altered the course of history. The attack on Pearl Harbor was not just a day of infamy, but a turning point in World War II, pulling the United States into the conflict on a global scale. The aftermath was devastating, with over 2,400 Americans killed and around 1,200 injured. 19 U.S. ships were sunk or damaged, including 8 battleships, and over 180 aircraft were destroyed. The very next day, December 8th, the United States declared war on Japan. This marked America's official entrance into World War II. Following suit, Germany and Italy, allies of Japan, declared war on the U.S. a few days later. This surprise attack had a profound impact on America's naval strength in the Pacific. The U.S. Pacific Fleet was significantly weakened, providing Japan with an opportunity to expand its conquests in Southeast Asia and the Pacific during the early months of the war. However, the implications of the Pearl Harbor attack extended far beyond the immediate damage and loss of life. It shattered America's isolationist stance, a policy maintained since the end of World War I. The nation was no longer a distant observer, but an active participant in the global conflict. The attack also ignited a surge in public support for the war effort. Remember Pearl Harbor became a rallying cry across the nation, fueling a sense of unity and determination. Americans from all walks of life came together, ready to contribute to the war effort in any way they could. It was a time of great mobilization as the United States marshaled its vast industrial and military resources. The Pearl Harbor attack served as a wake-up call for America, forever changing the course of history and the world as we know it.